education, awareness, giveaways, anything that we can do to promote the drive safe message that you don't want to distracted drive, ever. It only takes one time. Only one time. And something tragic, very tragic, can go wrong. And we're here about this nice young lady right here. And we want to feature her story. And it is a sad story, and it makes all of us cry. But we want to bring good out of her story of what we can do, that it does only take one time. So we have a lot of people around us tonight that I am very pleased to introduce to you. I have fine gentlemen from Bowling Green Fire right here. Staff Lieutenant Jared Savage, which you will hear from in a little bit, and Lieutenant Bill Bowers, both from the Bowling Green Post. Lieutenant Savage used to be with Bowling Green Post. Of those who were with us last year, you'll remember Lieutenant Savage when he comes back up. We have AAA in the back. We have Walgreens in the back. We also have a representative from SAD. We have a representative from Life Connection of Ohio. We have a representative from Mercy Trauma, St. V's Trauma. You guys keep changing and I can't keep up with who you are. We also have Teresa Pollock from ODOT here. And we all are going to bring you a different message of why we don't need to drive distracted. And we think of the times of distracted driving. Everybody thinks that it's just texting or talking on your phone. That's not always the case. Anything that takes 100% focus off of what you're doing is distracted driving. Whether it's drinking your pot, drinking your gallon of water like you are today, looking out over the countryside, looking at the crops or whatever around here in rural Wood County, doing all of that. That is all distracted driving. Talking to your kids in the back seat, turning up the radio, turning down the radio. All those things, just those little things, are huge parts of distracted driving. And right now I'm going to have different partners come up, a part of our Wood County Safe Communities Coalition, and they want to bring you a different message of what distracted driving and how it affects their working areas. And right now I want to bring up one of the gentlemen from BG Fire, or all three if they want to come up together. It's up to them. And they have been on some very nasty distracted driving crashes. Both BG Fire and all of their other professions where they run squads. And they're going to talk to you a little bit right now about what they see and how it affects them and how it affects your life when you distracted drive of what they need to do.
Hi, I'm Jim, and this is Aaron and Jason. We're from the fire department. Every year we go on one or two distracted driving accidents. One of the most memorable ones we had was right down by Walmart. The guy was texting his girlfriend that he was almost there, he was on his way, and ran a red light right down that way. Low impact speed accident, but it was a fatality. And so it only takes a second to look away. We deal with that stuff all the time. We see these injuries and stuff that are senseless. Wasn't wearing a seatbelt and stuff like that. So it's very senseless. And as much as we love our job, we don't like to go see that kind of stuff. One of the other memorable ones I had, my son was in the construction zone going back to school one time, and he was only doing about 10 miles an hour, and he took his eyes off the road for 1 second to get a drink of water, and he rear-ended the lady in front of him. So it only takes a second. We see that all the time. Every year we go on a couple. You read about them in the paper all the time, it bothers us too. So we don't like to see young people get hurt. We don't like to see young people hurt other people. So it only takes a second. It can happen to anybody, any age. Teach your kids. If your husband or wife's doing it, tell them to stop. It only takes a second, and you leave the roadway and you flip your car or something. So we don't want to see it. We like our job, but we don't want to have to see that stuff either. So other than that, that's about it.
Thanks, guys. And as I said, it only takes a second, and we don't want to see that. There's no call. There's no text. It can wait. There is nothing that cannot wait. If it's an emergency, pull over. If your call can't wait, pull over. Worthwhile to risk your life other people in the car's lives, or the people around you, their lives, pedestrian, another driver. It's not worth it to risk their lives when you're doing that. Along the fire and EMS line, I'm going to introduce you to Nicole Nepper, and she is from St. V's Trauma. And Nicole and I work together a lot with the traffic crashes to look and see what we can do to prevent these crashes. But she also sees the other side of it. We all see Lifeline coming in. They go to where she's at.
And we're here to take care of the people who get injured and to help them, but we don't want to see you there. We don't want that to happen to you. It's hard to not only on the obviously the patient who comes in with the many injuries that we see, but the families, the friends, the whole picture. And we don't want you to go through that. We don't want that to happen to you. We need to do everything that we can to prevent these things from happening. And I am so honored to meet you, and I so appreciate your message that you're doing and how you're paying it forward, because anyone that you touch, the lives that you touch, you're going to save people. And I think that's wonderful what you're doing. I go out and do a lot of injury prevention talks, different things. And I was in a kindergarten classes this spring talking to the kids about safely crossing streets and things like that. And one of the kids raised their hand and said, my parents text all the time in the car. And what are we supposed to do? They won't stop. And it broke my heart because I just imagined this young kid in the back seat, helpless because their parents are texting. And it's hard. Like, what are they supposed to say? And I just told her to loving reminders. Tell her, Mom, I love you so much. Can you please put your phone down? But think about that. Our kids are going to do what you're doing. So if they see you texting and driving, they're going to repeat that behavior as they grow up. They're going to, all of our bad habits and all of our good things that we think we give to our kids, they'll get those and they'll see all of our bad habits. So they're going to do what you do. So please put down your phones. We don't want you to come into the trauma bay. We'll do everything we can to help you and to hopefully save you so you can get back out and live your lives with your loved ones, but we don't want you to have to come in there. So put the phone down, put your seatbelt on, pay attention, and try not to be distracted. It's so easy to be distracted driving. None of us can say that we've not been. You can be talking to your kids or anything in the car, but just really try to put your phone down and pay attention to the road and save your life, save your children's life, save your families. Thank you.
We all have precious cargo in our car when we're driving, even if it's just us. We all want to make it home safe. Right now it's a little difficult with some of the construction and stuff going on, and it's even more important that you pay 100% attention to what you're doing. Even if it's just one habit you break because of today. Say you just stop drinking water or pop in the car. Say, I'm done. I know it distracts me too much. That's one thing that we've given up that gives us more attention to our drive and what we're doing. And that is what we need to do. And part of our training is we're working with teens. We work with every age, but we especially work with the teens. And I'm proud to introduce Teresa Carper from SAD. And she's going to explain a little bit about the program of what it is, because teenagers here, parents here, we need to get this program more in Wood County. We have to get this program in Wood County. We need to get it more effective and more in depth here. So I'm going to have Teresa explain to you about SAD and what we do with SAD, and also impact teen drivers when we're teaching the kids.
Thank you. Hi, as she said, my name is Teresa Carper, and I'm the Ohio coordinator for SAD. You may have heard of MAD. Well, SAD used to be Students Against Drunk Driving. But as time goes on, we know that drunk driving is not the only thing that teens can kind of get impacted negatively on. So it's become Students Against Destructive Decisions. And that organization is exactly what it said. It's the students that are against this. Parents, you do have a great influence on your teens. I hope that I do as an educator and someone who promotes the safety message. So does our law enforcement and all these other programs. But the one thing, the one person that I can tell you will have one of the greatest impact is their best friend sitting beside them, or their boyfriend. or their girlfriend. Any of you that have had a teen, you probably know they've said, hey, Susie said, or Johnny said. They have quite an influence, and they could be a negative influence or a positive one. And what we do at SAD is we try to work with groups like your wonderful safe communities right here in Wood County, who have events like this, or with law enforcement, or teachers, or advisors, to get those students educated on those issues that can save their lives, and take that influence that they have and direct it in a positive decision. I often tell my students, if you're in a car with someone, have the courage to say, stop. My life is important and so is yours. Or do you have your phone in your hand? Let me take that phone from you and answer that text for you. Because it takes 4.5 seconds on average for you to answer a text or to send a text. But it's a lifetime of sadness and loss that 4.5 seconds can take. Is it really worth it? Is there anything that anybody could say to you to cause you not to be here tomorrow? Is there any reason that you need to answer something that will bring sadness to not only your friends and your family, but all these different lives that you can touch throughout your lifetime? And that's what we try to do at SAD. We try to work with these students to educate them to influence their peer beside them. It's an honor to be here. I look forward to working more and more with you. I've been a Safe Communities Director for quite some time, and I worked in law enforcement. I'm kind of new at this, but I love working with teens, and I love working with organizations like your Safe Communities program. Thank you so much.
That's great advice. There's nothing you want to be here tomorrow. I'm proud to introduce you Teresa Pollock from ODOT. She has a wealth of information for us. I use Teresa as a resource all the time for different things we're doing. We're always bouncing things off of each other of how we can make the message better, how we can make not only the distracted driving message, but the seatbelt message, the don't drink and drive message, motorcycles, all of those messages more impactful and more powerful. So Teresa?
Thank you very much for being here. As a part of the Ohio Department of Transportation, everybody has known and seen our construction barrels out there, correct? All right, this is obviously it's construction season, but this is the biggest year in history for construction here in Northwest Ohio, in history ever. So as many of you know, we have a lot of projects going on, and when you're in those zones, particularly the I-75 zone, you know how close and how tight those lanes are. We have 11-foot lane widths, or generally they're around 12 feet. Well, if you've noticed, we've also reduced the speed limits there to 60 miles an hour. That's because that's a safe speed to drive within those 11-foot lane widths. When you look at some of the statistics, we analyze every single accident that happens within our zones, and we say, okay, what can we do to make things safer? What we've done is we've looked at these accidents and we've looked at these statistics, and we have found that the two biggest reasons for these accidents are driving too close and speeding. Obviously, with speeding, you will have, that's the driver's choice, and they shouldn't be doing that. I'm sure that Lieutenant will fill us in on that. But when you're driving too close, you may not be paying attention to what's going on in front of you. We change our work zones constantly, so you really have to focus all of your attention on the roadway and make sure that that's your number one thing, is to just look and drive. I'm very happy and honored to have with me my texter, Miss Rose. She's my daughter, and she texts for me quite often, and if ever there's a phone call I have to answer, it's going to be her. As you can see, she's 10 years old, but I'm sure she saved my life on many occasions. So thank you very much, Rose. I appreciate that. I also have my emoji person back here. She's very fluent in emoji. So if you have a chance, or someone that can help you out in the car, always turn to them. Just make it a practice, like I do with them, I always want to make sure that I get home safely to them. So I will pull over if I have to do a television interview, phone interview with anybody, because it's a priority. I know how important it is because we've seen too many crashes that could have been prevented. And this should be the priority in your life. So thanks, girls.
Thanks, Teresa. Thanks, girls. You guys are awesome. I am very pleased to have Staff Lieutenant Jared Savage speak to you now. He has all of the things that we've talked about tonight, and we're putting it together, and why. So, Staff Lieutenant is going to talk about his experiences, why we do what we do, why we need a primary distracted driving law. How many know that distracted driving law is not primary? Not primary. How many of us would like it primary? All of us raise our hands real quick. So he's going to talk about that and a lot of other key information that we need to know. So, Lieutenant.
Thank you, Sandy, and thank you for hosting this and bringing this to everybody's attention. I appreciate it. I had the honor and the privilege of speaking up here last year, and I was hoping that when I came up here this year, I would be able to tell everybody, hey, we've made great strides in enforcement, great strides in reducing crashes, but I can't really say that about the reducing crashes. I think we've made great strides in education, and we've made great strides in enforcement. I mean, and I'll explain the law here in a little bit. We're limping along with the law the way it is, but as far as crashes, they're still going up. They're still going up. Last year in Wood County, we killed 26 people. 26 people. At that time, I was responsible for Henry and Wood County, and altogether we killed 36 people. That was like some record, and that's not a record I want to set. This year, we started off really good as far as the district goes, Northwest Ohio goes, but here in the last 6 weeks, we've killed 29 people just in Northwest Ohio. The top 4 crash violations can all be related to distracted driving. ACDA, which means running in the rear of somebody. I don't care what you say. I mean, that's got to be related to some sort of distracted driving, right? I mean, you just don't run in the back of somebody if you're paying attention. It just doesn't happen. That's why 99.99999%, the person that hits somebody in the rear is at fault. The next one is drove off road. So if they just drive off the right side of the road for no reason, no swerving, no nothing, either A, you fell asleep, which we can probably argue that's some sort of distracted driving, or B, you just weren't paying attention. The next one is left to center. I've been doing this for almost 24 years, and back in the day when it was left to center, we associated that with, anybody? Alcohol. Yeah, alcohol. Now, 9 times out of 10, that person's not impaired, but they were probably distracted for some reason. Last year, our left to center crashes were down here. Last year, they shot up. I mean, it was the number 2 crash-causing violation, fatal crash-causing violation in Northwest Ohio last year. And the last one is fair to you. So either, and the firemen talked about it, with the gentleman that ran the red light. It can be from a red light, it can be from a stop sign. Most people, what we find out with the distracted, are going right through them. Now, talk a little bit about enforcement. As Sandy mentioned, it's not a primary violation. It's like a seatbelt. If I see you driving down the road without your seatbelt on, you have to be doing something else before I can stop you. It's the same thing with a cell phone, unless you look like you're under the age of 18. All right, I'm not a real good, I can guess age is pretty good, but not as they're driving by me in a car at 55, 60, whatever miles per hour. It's kind of difficult. So what we have to do is we have to have a violation to pull them over. Then I have to prove that they were texting. So not that I want to get you all out of how to get out of a ticket here, but if you tell me, if you argue the fact that you were reading a news article, or you tell me that you were just searching for a phone number, technically that's not texting, right? So technically, I can't cite you for texting and driving. I can give you one good example of when I cited somebody for texting and driving. And I was in Findlay, I was on Trenton Avenue over by Miller Meats, and it's a 4-lane there, and I was in the left lane, there was a car in the right lane. And she was weaving back and forth in her lanes, and we were going 30, 35 miles an hour. I pull up next to her, and I can see her, she's got both thumbs going to town like this here, on the steering wheel, going like this, and she swerves over, and so I'm like, fine, I can write somebody a ticket for texting and driving, I got this. So I pull her over, she's a mom, and she's probably my age, probably younger than me actually, but she was a mom, and argued to the hilt that she was not texting, that she was scrolling and looking for a phone. You know, even though I told her, I said, look, I have an iPhone, I know what you have to do to scroll, you do it with your thumb and you go up, you don't sit here and do this. So I wrote her the ticket, she argued back and forth, and I watched it, she went and paid the ticket. So here's the funny thing. She was my wife's a nurse at Blanchard Valley, and she's a neighbor with somebody that my wife works with. So I told my wife the story when I got home. I finally got to cite somebody for this. And she goes to work the next day, and her friend is saying, hey, my neighbor got cited yesterday in Findlay by a state trooper. And she said, man, I tried to put up a fight, he wasn't going for it, and everything. But she had told her she was going to go in and pay for it, that she was indeed texting and driving, but she don't know how I knew. So, I guess, Sandy had mentioned earlier that 9% of injury crashes involve texting and driving. Okay, that's where we mark on the crash report distracted driving. It's awful hard to prove. It's awful hard to prove. Nobody wants to admit to it. No, I mean, people they'll say they were doing anything else but texting and driving. Anything else. And the more I see it, the more it's not just your teenagers. It's just not your people in your 20s. It's moms and dads now. When I pull up beside people in my SUV, I look down and I see the daughter texting. I look over and I see mom texting, and I'm thinking, come on. And just like Teresa mentioned, we have to set the example. As law enforcement, as parents, as educators, we all have to set a good example and not do it. And just like Teresa, when my highway patrol phone rings, we call it the bat phone at home. When that rings, if I'm driving, my daughter picks it up. And some of my bosses are kind of like, you know, my daughter's 13, they're like, wow, but I have to set a good example. She's going to be driving in 2.5 years, and I have enough to worry about everybody else texting. I don't need to worry about her texting. I mean, I worry about her riding her bike down the road. I worry about people walking down the road, because all the time, if you look at that picture right there, that's what we see. That's exactly what I see when I see people coming at me, is the head down, and you know what they're doing. I mean, they're not looking at their steering wheel. They're not trying to tie their shoe. They're texting. So here's what I'll ask. Be careful and expect the unexpected all the time when you're out driving. Expect that person's not, when you're coming up to an intersection, expect that person's not going to stop. Expect that the person coming at you head on in the other lane is going to get over. It's going to come into your lane. So be prepared and drive defensive. Like I said, the law, when we first started last year about this time, when we first started keeping track of distracted drivers. At first, we were only keeping track of the ones that we were citing. Those are far and few between. But as an enforcement tool, what the Highway Patrol started doing is now we're just looking for people going left to center. We're looking for people driving off the road. And I don't care if you're a text or not, we're just going to cite you for driving left to center. I'm going to cite you for driving off the road. And I'm going to cite you for ACDA. I'm going to cite you for following too close. I don't care if you're going to admit to texting or not. It's just easier for us just to write the violation than to sit there and argue for 10 minutes whether people were texting and driving. So I'll leave you with this. Be a defensive driver. Assume that everybody that you're coming up to is not seeing you, not paying attention, that they're being distracted. And anybody have any questions before I start about the law or about our education or our enforcement efforts, anything like that. I can tell you that at the Bowling Green Post, we average about 100 enforcements of some sort of distracted driving a month. And so if we stop somebody for driving left to center or driving off the road, whether they were texting or not, to us, that's a distracted violation. And so we're claiming that as a distracted driving violation. So our stats will be different. We'll look at enforcement stats here coming up in the near future where we will have enough that we can do that instead of just looking at crash stats. All right? Thank you.
So we've talked about why we don't want to distracted drive. But how can we prevent from distracted driving? There's always little tools. We've got little keychains. It says don't text and drive. Put it on your keys. We see that. Everybody's got an awareness bracelet. Take it, put it on your phone. If you put it up and down, you can push the button, but I can't answer text, I can't swipe it, I can't make a phone call. Do that. There's all kinds of apps that you can put on your phone that when you start to drive, you just hit a button and it goes into driving mode. I'm sorry, I can't answer the phone right now. I'll call you when it's safe. You can put that into your phone. All kinds of things. New cars, my new fangled-angled car, which I still don't have figured out. The kid who knows much more about my car hooked my phone up to my car. And it rings. Most of the time I ignore it. If it's a text, I can hit it, I can listen. Am I distracted driving? Yes. But the best feature I like is that it automatically says, I'm driving right now. I'll call you when it's safe. How many times do you guys get that when you call me and text me? How many people would love to get that and know that someone is driving and that's why they didn't text you? Or you get the call, Mom, 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 why aren't you calling me? Let's reverse it. Mom wants to know where the kid's at. They keep texting, where are you at, where are you at, where are you at? So I've got kids that came to me about a year ago and said, what do we do when Mom keeps texting? And I'm like, we put something on your phone that says, Mom, you know you want me to get home safe. I'll call you when I can. Or put on some kind of message that says, Mom, I'm coming home from school, be home soon. Coming home from my friends. I know I have to be home at 11. I'll be home by 11. Or get your kids in the habit. We all have habits, and I've started using some of these habits as well. You get in the car. You turn it off. What's that important that you need to do? When you get to your destination, I'm here. You go to leave. I'm on my way home. Shut it off. If you don't want to shut it off, turn that volume all the way down and make sure you don't hear the vibrate. Because if you're like me, you hear the vibrate, you're going to look and see what it is. Because we have to know. We become a society of, I have to know now. I got to know what's on my phone now. I got to know what somebody wants. I've got to know now. It can wait. How many of us grew up with landlines? How many of us grew up with party landlines out in the middle of nowhere? Okay? We had to wait to call. Didn't we? You pick it up and you heard the neighbor yakking. Why do we have to have it now? Now. It can wait. We got another option tonight. You see me moving my hand around. And those of you who know me know I don't wear nail polish. I got a red thumb. And that's a new program with Walgreens, is your red thumb. It's my dominant hand. And if I go to text, I see that, and it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be texting right now, and put my phone down. There are two very special people here tonight. And yeah, they're going to make me cry just like they're going to make you cry. Because they have got a story to tell. And I want them to tell the story in their words. And I admire them so much for coming and speaking and telling us their story. I absolutely adore these two. How we got put together is nothing but divine intervention. I'm convinced. And if you see Jean and I around, you know we're two peas in a pod. but they have a message that they need to tell. And it's a hard message. But they want everyone to know what they've gone through so no one else has to. And what they wish would have happened or could have happened. And they'll tell you what they taught their daughter. And it's a great story. And I'm going to let them tell it. But think about your own family when they're telling it. And just put yourself in their shoes. And we'll talk about that when we're done, and we'll talk about our kids. Jean, please.
Hi, thanks for coming. Our daughter Brooke was 17. She was a senior at Bowling Green High School, and she was also taking post-secondary classes through BGSU at the same time. So the first week of school, she didn't start at the high school like everybody else. She was still waiting to start at BGSU. But she headed in that day to talk to the guidance counselors because she was a travel ball player and a high school softball player. She went in to talk to them to make sure that she would still be legal to play softball through the high school since she was going to be at BGSU all day long. She had left that morning. I had said, "Where are you going?" She goes, "I gotta go talk to the guidance counselors. See you later. Bye. Love you." And she jumped in her car. Well, I watched her hook her seatbelt. She pulled away, and a few minutes later, the scanner went off, and all I heard was there had been a rollover accident out on Mermill Road. So, like normal, I grabbed the phone, I sent her a message saying, "Hey, call me when you get this. I need to know you're okay. There's been an accident." So, she didn't respond. So I waited a few more minutes, and then I tried calling her. She had put her phone on vibrate, and so she never got that message, and I thought, okay, maybe she's already there, you can't have your phones on in school, so she had it off. So I'm sitting there for a little bit longer, and then all of a sudden, it came across the scanner, and they read DZ1122, which was her license plate, and it came back in my name. So then I knew, oh my God, that's my child. So I instantly jumped in the car, went out there, and when I got there, I got to meet with the Bowling Green Fire Department and the Weston EMS both as they were getting ready to take her into one of the ambulances to intubate her because she was having difficulties breathing. We went from there, they put her in life flight. I had to make a phone call my husband at work and say, "You need to get out here, Brooke's been in an accident." We went into, Life Flight told us where we were to go when we got there at St. B's. And when we got there, we were instantly met by a nun and a doctor and a priest who took us into a private room and said, "She's as critical as she can get. If you want the family members to see her while she's still alive, you need to get them here now." So we went from thinking she's okay. The trauma unit guys on the Life Flight said she's okay. She's got some problems, but she'll be okay. To being met with this. So our lives just went into major chaos. So then we called our son Derek, who was at Owens at the time taking classes. And he came and met us at the hospital then too. And then sooner or later, we had 40-something kids probably taking up the halls of St. B's. And they took her into surgery, tried to get her to stop, bleeding and everything. And when we were going up to take her into surgery, that's when we found out that she had been ejected from the car. I didn't know it, he didn't know it.
How?
We didn't understand how she'd gotten ejected because she had her seatbelt on. Well, then we got to talk to the gentleman who was behind her. And from what we have learned from him and everything is, we think that she had her cell phone either on her lap or in the console next to her, and they had just tarred and chipped the road that day. So what they think happened was she got into the stones and went to slow down and dropped her phone. Well, that being, the lifeline of every kid and adult nowadays, she went to reach for it, couldn't reach it, unhooked her seatbelt, went down. When she did, her hand went like this. She did a hard left, went into the field, flipped, and she was ejected from the car, and then the car flipped on top of her and then flipped off of her. So she was crushed from the waist up.
Some people ask us, how did we know that happened like that? What was strange was 2 months prior, she had a speeding ticket on 281. So she lost her license for 30 days. So I had to take her to ball practice. And that was fun. She paid for the gas and everything, but I had to drive her to practice every day. And she was on the travel team, and she finally got her license back after that. So that was like in the middle of July. So the whole month of June, she didn't have her license. So in the middle of July, she got her license back. And she said, "Dad, I'll drive." So I said, "Okay." We were on the same road. I almost swear it was in the same area where her accident was. Something fell on the floor. To this day, I can't remember what it was, but something fell on the floor, and she went to pick it up. She couldn't reach it. She unhooked her seatbelt. I'm in the passenger seat with my seatbelt on. I'm looking at her like, "Brooke, what are you doing?" She looked at me and she's like, "What?" It only took me a second. And that's what we're trying to say. It doesn't take much at all, you know. And to this day, I can't remember what she picked up, but it was like a month just before her accident. So, and then we found her cell phone. It was on the floor. And I think that when she got in that stone, she slowed it. If she knew that the road was tarred and chipped, she wouldn't went that way. She wouldn't want to get her car all stoned up. She would have went a different way. But where they started the stoning, I know she was already at 55. She got into the stone, tried to slow down, and that's when she lost her phone. And I think that's what happened. To this day, I bet she goes, "Dad, I'm sorry." That's how we kind of like distracted driving. You don't have to be on your phone. It just, you look at kids. I remember taking her to school, and you watch the kids, the first thing they came out at school, their phones are coming out, they're walking, it's their lifeline. And I said, do a challenge once with some of these young kids. They set their phone down, pick it up, put it in their back pocket, hide it from them. They will freak out if they can't find their phone. And then, because that's their lifeline. You know what I mean? They're like, "Where's my phone? Where's my phone?" When you're behind the wheel, we can't have that, you know. Where it says, you know what I mean? They have to remember when they're behind the wheel, they have to pay attention to what they're doing driving. So, you know, our loss, Gene and I try to talk, we just want, if we can save one life, that's what we're doing. We're trying to do the best we can do to help so we don't see it happen to anybody else. People ask us, "How do you get through? How do you do this?" This August will be 8 years since she's been gone. But in the same token, hey, be an organ donor. You know, she saved 3 lives. That's helped us. We have a lot of people here that are our friends from Life Connection with Oregon and that donation. And we love their like our family. Same way with Jim Watley's in Florida, he's one of the recipients. It's something that we just try to make awareness. And I talk too much, so I got.
That's the most he's ever talked. I'm proud of him because he usually doesn't share.
I am super proud of him because he always looks at me and goes, "Oh." I'm going to bring up Kelly Valentine. It's just self-explanatory when Kelly's here.
I've known you for almost 8 years, and my heart still breaks every time I hear that story. I work for the Oregon Procurement Organization, and I think if we learn anything from this day, it's just how precious life is, and that life can change in a heartbeat. Brooke was able to save 3 lives. That's your new mantra: 1 life lost, 3 lives saved. But really, it's more than that, because the more you talk and share her story, and share the message of distracted driving, the more lives she has actually saved.
So my message for all of you, as far as I'm concerned, is this is a wonderful thing that you all are doing, that you're all a part of. It is so important to not be distracted behind the wheel, and I know myself, I can be guilty sometimes, and I have 3 little ones. But in those tragic situations when families do have a loss, organ donation can sometimes be a silver lining. And I know that for the Petersons, that was one very positive thing, the only very positive thing that has come out of the tragic situation that their family has gone through. So for those of you who are not registered, be educated, read the information, think about it, consider it, talk to your families, make sure that everybody's on the same page, because as trauma nurses or state highway patrol or firemen and EMS can all understand that families that are going through those kinds of losses and situations are just not in a mindset to consider something that maybe they've never discussed before. And when the opportunity then presents itself to bring something good out of this tragic loss, it's actually very helpful for the family to have already discussed that as an option and to know what that person would have wanted. And Brooke was a registered donor, correct? On her license. She had told you she wanted to be on her license. So.
And that's where we try to educate people, because my first words were no. 8 years ago, I knew nothing about organ donations. But today, with everything that's going on, and it's on my license, and now we work with Life Connections, and we're just there to educate. I wish I was educated 8 years ago. I wish we would have had distracted driving 8 years ago. I wish I was able to come to this 8 years ago. Maybe there could have been a chance Brooke could still be here.
Which, for us, and for folks like myself who work in organ donation, it may be a job, but we all end up as family, and we have families too. And I think that is part of the healing message of organ donation, is that even though we might not have been able to save ourselves from something tragic, we may be able to help others. So I have information at the table. If anyone wants anything or has any questions, make sure you let me know. But thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. It is such a special, near and dear thing to my heart. The past 2 years have changed my life completely about distracted driving. I talk about Brooke all the time. My students here, Faith, Lana, will tell you, I'm always talking about Brooke. Her poster's hanging up in my office. And people ask me all the time, who's that? Who's that? So I get a chance to tell the story. Anytime I talk about distracted driving, I tell Brooke's story. Because it's a message that needs to be put out. We need to continue, no matter how we can, getting the distracted message out. So if at any time any of you have any opportunity and you want one of us to speak, me, Teresa, Nicole, Lieutenant Sanders, Lieutenant Bowers, if there's any way that we can get our message out to stop distracted driving, please let us know. We'll do anything that we can do. We get up at 3:30 in the morning to come out for a live at 5 on a day we're still going to be here at 10 at night. We'll do it. If we can save one person, we're going to do it. And that's what we need to do. I always do good until this part. And I never cry until this part. And I'm not going to cry again. No.
I did enough for you, Sandy.
Thank you very, very much, because Teresa's message got me. That her precious girls help their mom because they want their mom to come home safe. That got me. That got me good. Think of who's in your car that wants you to go home. Because they will answer your phone and they will text, and I can't look at her anymore. She kept me going to my press conference, so I didn't cry at my press conference. This message is near and dear to my heart, with my nieces and nephews, and now my great nieces and nephews, and bringing them up. They're all drivers, they're all farm kids. I want them here. I want my neighbor girls here. I want my neighbors here. I want every one of you to still be here. So whatever we can do, whatever tool we need to use, even if it's a red thumbnail, let's do it. Let's do it. We've got tools. Let's do it. If you ever have any questions, let us know. If you have any questions now for anybody, please speak up. We're going to be here for a while. This poster, I'm in love with this poster, and I have to brag on my students because they leave me in the summer. They better teach somebody else how to do this, because everything we've put out lately, and you'll see posters around, those messages grab. And whatever we can do to make it, we look at different holidays. We'll even look at Sweetest Day. How can we make Sweetest Day a message? Don't drink and drive. Don't distract and drive. Your sweetie wants you to come home. The prom. I don't know how many of you had high school age kids for prom and got corsages. We had the texting message on their corsage boxes. Whatever we can do, we're going to do it. So, of course, you know what's coming.
I hate it.
But he taped it on here because he wants me to look silly. But this is for Gene and Dave as well. We love you guys. We can't do this without you guys. And we're so happy that you let us continue to tell your story.
We got the one last year.
Yeah.
Is there a way we can have that here?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I would
Yep.
not like to have it where other people see it.
Absolutely. Wherever we've got two other ones up around. I've got the one from last year in my office. We've got these around campus, and law enforcement, they see stuff. It's like, hey, can we have one of them? And we put them out to wherever we can get stuff like this out. So if you ever have any place that we can put things, distracted driving, drunk driving, seatbelts, please let me know. We would just be delighted to be able to get our messages out to people you love and people you work with and your family. So please let us know. My cards are on the table. Whatever we can do, we do. We've had billboards before. Those are so hard to get. So wherever we can do this, our social media, I didn't think I would ever say I love social media. I love social media. I don't get it, do I, Joel? I don't get it. But we put out things that are insightful. We put out the why. Why do you need to do this? This is why we should do this. And you'll learn if you're around me a lot, I don't like to put out the blood, guts, and gore messages. They don't make an impact. You get enough blood, guts, and gore everywhere else. Your games your kids play, your movies you watch, everybody's getting just numb to that. Let's put out a message that hits home, hits you here, and it's like, that could be me. That's what we put out. So we have a Facebook page, Safe Communities of Wood County. We have Twitter, and we have a wonderful website that has just been redone that is just fantastic. There is so much information on that website, and I am just pleased as punch that that's done. So if there's ever anything, go to our website, give me a call, give our department a call, give the Rec and Wellness Department a call, and we can help you out with that. So any questions from anyone? Comments, concerns, anything?
So, I think Gene would agree with me. We have one at home, and I like to have that out.
We
so
will,
that it would be this-
we
that
will
way-
do that. Yes,
Because
that makes our heart very happy.
Because being in our house, not everybody's going to see it.
Right.
And I would want it to where
And
everybody.
we are just delighted to do that for you. We've got our buttons, we're wearing our buttons. We've been trying to figure out how we could get buttons done. And we did, thanks Mom. But whatever we can do, grab a bracelet, grab a keychain, get one of us cornered, we'll show you the apps, we'll show you the different things you can do with your phone. Please, 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 don't drive distracted, please. Just one thing, because it only takes one time, and it can change your life forever. So thank you very much for coming. Please stop out at the simulator if you haven't done that yet. We'll be here for a while, so just mingle around, ask questions. We will all be here, so thank you very much for coming.